may have played an important role in your formative years. I know he didn't mind, as I said. Ladies and gentlemen, Kermit the Frog. Oh boy, here's his bio. Okay, look, I get it. He's a puppet, right? But for just a few minutes, suspend the adult in you. Lose yourself in those beautiful, calming, plastic eyes. And oh, what a velvety voice. Or should I say felt?
Yeah.
Go back to your childhood.
Thank you. Hey, boy, do we have a show for you tonight.
For so many, Kermit the Frog was more than just an entertainer. He was your pal. On Sesame Street, he helped teach a bunch of people to read and to be true to ourselves. And when you look at it, Kermit's achieved more in his career than most human superstars. Powerful actor, great musician, an accomplished host. You know, Kermit's also filled in as a guest host for Johnny Carson and Larry King.
You know, I was reading your bio, and you are the preeminent TV interviewer in America.
And he spent an astounding 50-plus years as an A-list star. By the way, the A stands for amphibian. I should also mention that Kermit the Frog has struggled with body image issues, still reluctant to show his legs on camera. But if Kermit's talents helped make them famous, it's his kindness that helped make him a legend, even though he's technically cold-blooded. So when stars like Steve Martin, Elton John, and Johnny Cash dropped by the Muppet Show, yay, they all raved about the affable host. But with so much success, you have to wonder, what's it like to shoulder all that responsibility, especially when you don't even have shoulders? We're about to see, because for the first time in 12 years, Kermit is back on the big screen. He's reunited with his old friends and a few new human ones.
Are there Muppets in this movie?
In a movie called, appropriately, The Muppets.
I believe in you, and you, and you, and, well, all of you. Aww.
So excited to say this. Everybody welcome Kermit the Frog.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Hi, George. How are you? Thank you. Hi, George.
Good to see you, Ron.
Nice to see you.
How are you? Let's see.
All right, thank you all. Wow. What a great crowd, huh?
Well, I'll tell you, we've tried a long time to get you on the program. Thanks for
Wow, well,
agreeing.
listen, I'm sorry it took so long.
Well, no, you've got a movie, though.
It's a long flight, you know.
It really is.
Yes, I have a movie. It's coming out on the 23rd of November. It's called, oddly, it's called The Muppets. Kind of typecasting, but, you know.
You know, I want to get into the idea of typecasting in a bit,
Yep,
but it's been a long time since people have seen you in a movie. As an actor, what was it like to just to get back out, put on the suit again, and try to do this?
Well, you know, I haven't been on the big screen in a long time. We've done lots of little screen work, like television and the internet, and that little YouTube screen that's only about this big. But to be 40 feet wide again, that's a whole different story. I had to tone everything down, you know.
And Jason Segel, it was.
You said seagull.
Yes.
I love that, because when I first heard Jason's name, I was Kermit the Frog. I thought he was a seagull.
Oh.
That's interesting. Wow.
But don't seagulls and frogs have a bit of a rivalry?
Yes.
Seagulls
but that's why. But seagull, we're fine.
Right. Okay.
I'm fine with
Jason
seagull.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay. Fine.
yeah.
So what was it like? You know, because you've worked with so many big talent over the years. When you knew that Jason wanted to work with the Muppets because he had come up with this idea for a film, what was that like for you? Had you known him before?
Well, I was aware of his work. In fact, I understand. I didn't know this at the time, but I actually inspired his wardrobe, or lack thereof, in the opening of Sarah Marshall.
You did?
Because. I don't know whether you guys noticed, but I am appearing completely naked right now.
That's one reason why we have to shoot above a certain height, because it would intimidate a lot of people.
Yes, it would.
So so when you sit down and to get the band back together, to get all the other Muppets back together, who was the first call you made?
Well, I call Fozzie. Whenever I want to get us together to do anything, I check with Fozzie, because he has certain restrictions. He's not a prima donna or anything. He hibernates during the winter. So we can only use him from spring until fall, you know.
Well, had he slimmed down a little bit? How did he look?
Well, he gets very skinny. Yeah. But it only takes him just a very short time to get big and furry again.
And his jokes still make you laugh after all these years?
Well, I mean, I love Fozzie, but it's not because his jokes are funny. Let's just put it that way.
Well, listen, part of the storyline of this movie, man, is it's kind of heartbreaking, especially.
I love it when you call me man.
Well, you know.
Because, you know, it's tough for a frog in Hollywood.
I can imagine.
You know, being a frog.
Have you ever felt typecast?
I didn't mean to take you off course there, but I have. Yes, I have. I am short and green, and I'm proud of it.
Well, you hear an awful lot people who are visible minorities in Hollywood talk about how there aren't the right amount of roles for them, and
listen, I'm an amphibian American, and proud of it.
Are you? You ever look forward to the day when maybe there's better roles for you guys? You have to take control of that?
Yeah, it's tough. Maybe this film will change things for me. I don't know.
Okay, set the record straight, because it pops up again, and I know you and Miss Piggy.
Yeah.
People want to know. Like it's sort of like pre-Brangelina, it was you two, and in the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody wants to know. It's probably the most asked question I get, George.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
What do you think that is? What is it you guys represent?
I have no idea. I think it's some interspecies dating thing. I don't know. But, you know, it's odd because as an amphibian, my whole life I've been strangely attracted to mammals.
Right.
Especially female mammals.
Right.
I don't quite get it.
Hey, but growing up, was it difficult to basically tell people that, to be accepted?
Sure. I mean, you just don't want to come right out and say, hey, Dad, I think I'm attracted to mammals. You know. As a teenage frog, right after you drop your tail off, that can be pretty embarrassing.
Right, yeah.
You know? I mean, the tail thing's embarrassing enough.
Maybe,
you know?
Maybe we should start an It Gets Better campaign for amphibians.
Yeah. It's getting better being green. I like that. I like that.
Is there any role that you turned down that you'd wish you hadn't turned down?
Yeah, Yoda. That was a big one. Yeah. Big miscalculation on my part.
So you read for the part, and what did you just, you didn't get the script, or what was it?
I didn't have the ears for it. Yeah, it was very strange. I was the right color, wrong ears.
That's awesome. Yeah. How have you grown as an actor? How have you grown as an actor?
Not much. I'm still about 18 inches tall. No, actually, I look at this role in this new movie, The Muppets, as kind of my, probably my most dramatic role to date, you know? I spent a lot of time kind of being, a little bit depressed, a little bit sad, you know? It stretched me as an actor.
Did you have to draw on personal experiences to go there?
Well, I don't think I'm as sad as that. I don't know. I talked to some of my acting buddies, like, Michael Caine, who taught me never to blink. See what I'm doing? See what I'm doing here? Yeah, I don't want to get into a staring contest, but I never blink.
You would win.
Yeah.
You would absolutely win that one.
Well, I have transparent eyelids, so it's unfair.
You had mentioned Michael Caine, and you've worked with so many great ones, certainly back on The Muppet Show. I want to play one of the biggest ones in my life. Let's take a look at this one here.
Yep.
The Muppets was the biggest thing I ever did in my life.
It's what turned me to the dark side.
I'm telling you what, The Muppets was so much fun, and the show was so clever, because if you notice, they could make fun, green people could make fun of purple people.
Right.
And there was no black and white and anything like that. It was just, and it was the #1 show in the world right then.
Wow. Thank you. You know, I love Alice Cooper. He's one of my favorite people. And he came in about the middle of the 3rd season of the show, and he's terrific. I ran into him years later on another British show, and we took up right where we left off. We were sitting in a dressing room. His dressing room was freezing. So he came into mine. I have to keep it warm, or I go dormant. I go, blink. You know, not good to happen on live TV.
Right.
And we discussed Barney Fife. Do you guys know Barney Fife from the old Andy Griffith? Yeah, we had a long talk about that.
Well, you know, what's funny is that I learned about heavy metal because I watched Alice Cooper on that show. But I remember also learning about opera because Beverly Sills was on that show. When you guys were putting that show together, what kind of, was there a certain kind of talent you were looking for?
Well, basically, we tried to get talented people who wanted to do something that they were never actually allowed to do. Now, Alice did actually do heavy metal on the show, and Beverly sung opera, but oftentimes we would let people do silly things, that they'd never done before.
Who are you the most excited to meet?
Oddly, and we had a lot of great guests. I loved meeting Roy Rogers and Dale Evans.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because they were kind of from the old school Hollywood days, very sweet people. Bob Hope was great, all those people.
Now, it's actually the first TV show host that I ever identified with was you, right? Because
really?
Yeah, for sure. The Muppet Show was the first TV show, variety show that I wasn't into Donnie and Marie. I was in Muppets.
Well, was it the eyes or the collar?
It was the
Oh, the yes.
There's a lot. It still works.
Yeah, it does. I sort of have to ramp up to it sometimes,
What's the Kermit the Frog highlight? What's the highlight of your career so far?
Wow. I've had so many. One was, I will say one serious one was going to the Queen's Jubilee when she was 75. And I was at Buckingham Palace, and Brian May's up on top of the palace playing God Save the... Yes, playing God Save the Queen. And then I walk into they had this porta potty thing, right? And who should walk in? And this is a true story, Ozzy Osbourne. What? I stood at a urinal next to Ozzy Osbourne.
Did he notice you?
No. I'm very small, but I'm not going to say any more than that, but rather weird,
You know, one of my favorite scenes in the new movie is as the camera's passing down Hollywood Boulevard. There's a little picture of Jim Henson up there.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
this would have been Jim Henson's 75th birthday this September.
Yeah.
You worked for many years with Jim. Tell me about Jim. What was he like?
Well, you talked about leadership. I would say that was his sort of hallmark. You know, he knew how to get the best out of all of us, and he certainly. Well, I can say he raised me to new heights. But he was a terrific guy, and he was always around. And I have no idea what he did. He was just there.
He was just there.
You know? I don't get it, but
He was just keeping an eye out, wasn't he?
Yep. Hopefully he still is.
Kermit the Frog. That must have been pretty cool, right?
Well, you know, it's a lot of what we always do. We're pretty good at trying to explain complicated things to people in a simple way.
How do you explain Wall Street today? It's so complicated.
That's a different story. But I have heard that there's going to be an occupation of Sesame Street, so I'm preparing for that.
What about traveling? What's it like to travel as the Frog?
Well, it can be tough. I'm doing a lot of travel right now because we're promoting our movie, and well, you might think I would be first class, but I don't even make coach. I end up in cargo. Yeah, I know. I think some things never change, and I felt really bad about it until I looked over in the next kennel, and there was Charlie Sheen. Yeah, so it's like, what the hey, you know?
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh my God! All right, you know when you heard a lot about Friends and different shows like Sex and the City, there was always a conversation about which each actor was getting paid and how the business worked.
Right.
Was it ever complicated or behind the scenes with you guys?
We have completely solved that issue with the Muppets. We get nothing, so it's hard to be jealous.
You need an agent, man.
Yeah,
is
I
what you need. What's the key to being a good director?
I think that's a serious question. I don't have a funny answer, but I have a real answer.
tell me a real
I think you have to be a leader. I think you have to be good with people, and you have to accept people's ideas and work with them, you know?
How do you stay looking so young after all these years?
Well, I always chalk it up to good, clean swamp living. I do yoga. I meditate. You know, if you go into the swamp, you'll see frogs sitting on logs. It's very relaxing. You just stare into the water. I can do that all day.
There are rumors about a Muppet Show TV series again. Have you thought about that at all?
Well, it's been thrown around. I think it would depend on whether all the people in this audience go see our movie or not, you know? But hopefully they will, and hopefully we'll do a lot more movies and a lot more TV shows and everything else.
It's a real pleasure to see you. Thanks for spending the time with us.
You bet, my friend. Nice to see you. Thank you, everybody.
Kermit the Frog, everybody. Go see the Muppets. It's in theater on November the 23rd.